Hello, I am Dr. Tony. I'm a psychotherapist licensed in the state of Pennsylvania, and I am also a success strategist and mentor for parenting professionals, as well as a speaker and author. And I'm glad to talk with you today about how to reduce anxiety in 3 easily customizable steps while building your business or growing your business. Now, I own 2 businesses. And I know as I started each of them, I really wanted to just get it all done. And I wanted to get it all done perfectly, as perfect as possible. And I wanted to get it all done quickly, right? Let me know if you can resonate with that. Most people can, right? But what happened was because I was focusing on getting it all done quickly and perfectly in the beginning of building each of my businesses, what I experienced was a cycle of anxiety and exhaustion and resentment eventually, because I wanted to do all of the things and I wanted to do them quickly. And that put a lot of pressure on me. And I have seen that happen with other business builders, other entrepreneurs, other leaders, time and time again. I mean, what ambitious leader or entrepreneur wouldn't want to perfectly execute in the most efficient way as often as possible? Right? Who wouldn't want that? But the truth of the matter is that the pressure that is put on by that type of thinking, it actually creates more stress rather than reduce stress, right? And so that ultimately leads to less efficiency, less meaningful success, less satisfaction, and much more anxiety than necessary because of how our brains work when they're in stress mode too often or too intensely, right? So whether you're building a new business or seeking to up-level an existing business, the list of things that need to get done quickly, well, they can add up, can't they? It becomes easy to get caught up in the rush of all of the things that need to get done. And what that can do is it can create a lot of internal chaos, right? It can throw yourself or your life off balance, either because you're trying to do too much all at once, or there is so much that you're focusing on that you kind of feel frozen and can't really take action clearly because there's this confusion and fog that's hard for you to break through, right? So all of that leads to a chaotic environment, which then impacts other parts of our lives, whether it's our personal lives or our professional lives, right? As parents or other roles that we're fulfilling, if we're stressed and we're feeling chaotic, it's going to bleed out somehow, some way at some point. And no one wants that. Fair? So to reduce anxiety and create more balance, more clarity, more focus in your business growing ventures, here are 3 customizable steps that you can begin implementing as soon as today if you want. Okay. The first step, be intentional with your schedule. This is such an important one. It is one that I continue to practice to this day, and I will continue to implement no matter how long I am in business for, because let's be honest, there's plenty to do when it comes to building or growing a business. That list of to-dos is endless. It can seem like the list just goes on and on and on, right? And that's because it does. The list does go on. There is always something more that you could do. And so if you try to cram it all in for the sake of getting it done, then you're likely going to do one of 2 things. You're going to feel overwhelmed and get stuck, or overwork and burn yourself out, right? So not only are neither of those options ideal for any of us, but they simply aren't very effective, and they're not going to help you get to where you want to go and also feel good about it, right? They're certainly not going to leave you feeling satisfied with where you're at and the direction that you and your business are going in together. I know when I started my businesses, I tended to push myself so hard that I was overworking. And later down the road, I also experienced that kind of stuck feeling that you get from mental overload, because there's so much on your mind all of the time when you're trying to focus on everything all at once, right? And so to change this, I had to figure out how to be more intentional with my mind and my time. A great way to become more intentional with your time and your mind is to have one streamlined, overarching organized system that you can put all of your scheduling pieces within daily. All right. Because a balanced life cannot just be about business. You need to be sure to include your personal life in this detailed system as well. And you don't need to share this overarching main organizer with anyone. It's just for you. So feel free to be as detailed as possible as you put all of the pieces in there. By putting all of those pieces in there, all of your scheduling in one place, you're going to be able to get a clearer picture of what you actually want and need to spend your time on in any given day or hour or week or month. And that is going to help reduce the brain fog and help increase mental clarity. All right. So to fill out your organized scheduling system each morning, you're going to need to set aside some time for yourself to do that, right? To make sure that you have that in your morning. Maybe it's 5 minutes, maybe it's 10 minutes, maybe it's more. You'll find the sweet spot for you. But you want to make sure that you do that in the morning, okay? And then add notes on future pages. So just get whatever book you want to write and add notes on future pages of things that you want to put in there that have come up for you. So today I'm thinking of, I need to call the plumber on the 17th, but the 17th isn't for 2 more weeks. Okay, so flip through and put that where you want it to happen, where you want that call to happen. So now you don't need to keep reminding yourself, it's already future placeholder in there for you, okay? And writing these future notes is going to help you prioritize not just for your current day that you're in writing your daily organizer for, but also it's going to help release the need to try to remember it and cram everything into this day right now when some of the stuff just isn't priority today, and that's okay. All right, so you're also going to leave a section in your organizer that allows you to write reflections. And at the close of each day, take a few minutes to write and reflect on what you enjoyed, learned, or were grateful for. Bookending your day this way really, truly does help set a more positive foundation for your sleep that you want to get at night, right? Good sleep, as well as set a positive foundation for your mood in the morning. And so I'm going to provide you a truncated version of my own custom-made intentional scheduler that I started using years ago. I created for myself because I couldn't find one that quite fit exactly what I knew I needed. All right. And so you can click that PDF. It's free for you to use and download and customize. Now, mine has evolved over time because I started out using a version very similar to the one that I'm sharing with you. But it's going to evolve over time because you evolve over time. Your business evolves over time. Your needs, your wants, your schedule, all of those things evolve over time, okay? So it's important that this overarching system is offline, which is why I'm providing you a PDF that is printable. The reason it's important is because kinesthetically, writing things down helps to reduce anxieties when you're executing it, when you're doing it in a way that is very intentional. Okay, so if you can have a separate online system, I certainly do. I have a separate online system that also has different calendar pieces in it for different areas of my life. Okay, but for this main overarching one, you really want to have it offline so you can write it down. Okay, you can share other parts of your schedule with other people that are not part of this main overarching one, but this main overarching one is really for you to be organized and be able to reduce your anxiety in a way that works for you. Go ahead and download that. You don't want to forget it. Okay, you can reference it, you can create your own, whatever works for you. So step 2. Find a healthy way to acknowledge and manage your emotions, and then practice consistently doing it. Now, as I've supported, collaborated, and otherwise connected with fellow business builders, entrepreneurs, working parents, people in leadership roles, one common thing I've noticed a ton of is that there is a lack of stress and emotion management. Right? So I tend to connect with the folks who have big visions. They have big dreams. They have big plans. They're ambitious. They stay busy. They constantly push themselves and they relentlessly try to help others while pursuing all of their goals all at once, right? And that's a lot going on. And I can relate to that. But what happens is they often ignore their emotions because they're too busy to deal with them. And so as a result, the emotions get pushed down or they eventually bust out in a not so great way. And that leads to more and more experiences of stress. Either way, this type of setup is a recipe for disaster. It's not good. All right. It's not a long-term strategy that works. I get it. There's a lot to do, and slowing down to deal with emotions can sound so inconvenient, so unproductive, and even inefficient. But let me tell you what the research says. The research shows us that too much stress and emotional distress actually reduces our ability to execute effectively, right? So we want to be doing a lot more, performing really highly, being really productive. And if we are too stressed, too often, too overwhelmed, it actually reduces that. Our brain's ability to tap into creative states is reduced when we are too stressed, too often, too much, or too busy. Okay, that creates barriers. It creates barriers to thinking clearly, which is definitely something we want to be able to do if we're going to build or grow or run a business in a way that is influential, in a way that is successful, in a way that feels good and satisfying. So let's be honest. We are all an emotional species. We all have emotions, whether we like it or not. And despite the bad rap that emotions often get, they're not a bad thing to have. In fact, they help us figure out what we do and don't prefer in life. In fact, your emotions helped you come to the conclusions about what kind of business you want and why you want to build it. So the answer to dealing with emotions isn't to work so much that they just get neglected. And the answer also isn't to just give your emotions the driver's seat and allow them to take over and make all your decisions for you. The secret answer to managing emotions effectively is to be intentional about how you deal with them. Be intentional about how you are dealing with them. Now, there's no cookie cutter method for managing your emotions because it's going to look different, feel different for different people. And that's a good thing. But what will be important for this step is that you choose to explore possible ways to slow down, notice how you're feeling and what you're emotionally needing at any given point in time, and then consciously choosing to tend to whatever comes up in a way that works for you. Now, many people find emotional support or relief in regular meditations or journaling, and there are plenty of people that don't find support and relief in that. That's okay. Your way may not be the same as your fellow business owner, fellow entrepreneur, fellow parenting professional. It may not be the same as your fellow someone else's may be. Now, mine has evolved over time, but a few things that have been helpful for me along the way are things like therapy, mentorship, brain spotting, walking, writing, and other things like that. Okay, so you can incorporate the second step into the first step that I gave you by scheduling in time for your emotion management methods using that PDF template that I provided for step 1. Step 3, relational management, right? Identify what relationships matter to you and why, and then hold yourself accountable to prioritize them. It is so easy to get caught up in life or caught up in goals or caught up in the pressure of things and completely skip out on why we even thought that mattered in the first place, completely lose sight of what we really wanted to prioritize in the first place. One of the reasons that I was attracted to becoming an entrepreneur was that I'd get to make my own schedule, right? This seemed great for me because I had 3 young children at the time. I now have 4. And I wanted to be present for them while also building my psychotherapy business and being involved in a career that I felt really passionate about, right? And so I caught myself in the early stages of building my business, spending way too much time not honoring my own scheduling and spinning my wheels over things that I didn't need to stress myself out about so much. I'd spend weeks at a time trying to craft my own website or create my documents from scratch and try to get the videos edited ever so precisely, rather than pausing for breaks or asking for help or intentionally scheduling slots to do X, Y, or Z. And so I found myself drowning in it all alone and spending way more time than I wanted to on those tasks. Now, if I hadn't caught myself, I would have continued down that path and I would have wound up sacrificing the very time and presence with my kids that I'd been desiring to build my business for in the first place. See, we need to pay attention to that. So oftentimes people say that they chose to start their business or take on this position, at least in part, because they thought that it would benefit relationships that were meaningful to them in life, like providing for my family or giving back to the people that helped me or giving me the time and financial freedom to be with my friends and my family more. And then the irony is that when anxiety, stress, or time demands related to that business or role take over, it may very well be that these same or similar significant relationships, they suffer as a result. We all want to build or grow a business to amplify what matters most to us, not to sacrifice it. And so to prevent your business from taking too much mental space, energy, and time away from the other essential parts of your life, like important relationships, it's vital that you build an accountability system for yourself. Now, of course, you can't hold yourself accountable for something that you're not clear about. And so you want to first write down what relationships matter most to you and your lifestyle right now and why. Get clear on that. Next, you'll want a streamlined way to hold yourself accountable for intentionally prioritizing those relationships. Now, if you're a visual person, you may want to put pictures of the person, the place, or the thing within your visual field so that you see them at a specified time during the day and you're reminded when you see it. Or if you're more into audio, you may want to record yourself stating a sentence or so about these relationships and then playing that audio back to yourself for a few seconds each day. Another simple but helpful method is to incorporate reminders into your daily organization system from step one, right? Writing it down, what relationships you're going to take time to focus on that particular day and around what particular time you're going to take the time to do that. There are so many ways that you can incorporate reminders of your priority relationships into your daily organization system. You can get really creative about it. And you'll want to find the way that works best for you by practicing different options to see which feels best, okay? And so as you can see, each of these 3 steps, they're highly customizable and they build up off of the other. So in unison, they create a very powerful yet practical tool that's highly customizable. Highly customizable. How many times am I going to say that, right? Because it's not cookie cutter. That's not what we're looking for. It's about making it your own, okay? And that means that you can use this at any stage of your life or business because it can evolve with you. So implementing these 3 steps is going to aid you in reducing the overwhelm and enhancing your focus, which is going to free up energy for what matters most to you as you grow your business while living in your life without sacrificing the other meaningful parts of your life. And so if you want more guided support on how to implement these 3 steps to reducing anxiety while also building or growing your business or the role that you're in, you can grab the 3-part mini series that I've created so that you can get a deeper dive into this and get additional support with it. This video pack is super practical, and it even comes equipped with opportunities to submit questions to me directly. And so you might be able to get those questions answered as you submit them along your way. From interpretation to implementation, this video guide is there to help. And it includes this free PDF from step 1 that I have explained. You can use all of the steps within, which is going to be incredibly helpful for you along your journey to reducing anxiety in these 3 customizable steps while building or growing your business and your life that you desire.